The mid-80s and 90s were excellent years for R&B and soul music, producing some of the most popular and skilled male groups. During that period, one of the most successful and lovable powerhouses was the R&B trio. These three dominated the music charts and established a successful model for urban male groups. The trio's technique of merging deep ballads, up-tempo beats, and catchy melodies resulted in a vibrant collection of music that will be cherished for many years. The centerpiece of today's video is all about LeVert. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Mark Gordon was born on September 8th, 1964 in Cleveland, Ohio. Gerald LeVert was born on July 13th, 1966, and Sean was born on September 28th, 1968, both in Canton, Ohio. Gerald and Sean are the sons of OJ singer Eddie LeVert. Gerald, as the oldest son of a superstar, frequently accompanied his father and his band on tour for their different concerts. Gerald's interest in music became obvious in high school when he founded his own trio, LeVert, with his younger brother Sean and close friend Mark Gordon in 1983. Mark and Gerald, the group's founding members, were always aware that music was their destiny, and LeVert became his own reckoning. The group spent long days and sleepless nights in the basement writing songs, recording, and practicing their dance moves, but their road to stardom was not paved with industry hookups or doors that magically flew open because of their name. The group was turned down by every label Gerald's father, Eddie LeVert, presented it to. But the youthful LeVert group stayed focused on making their idea a reality. Eddie, tired of being rejected by big companies, decided to push the boys independently. So he hooked up with a good buddy and former Philly International Records exec, Harry Coombs, and released the first LeVert album. I Get Hot on Temple Records. The pieces began to fall into place for LeVert, with an appearance on Soul Train with Don Cornelius in their single. I'm Still reaching the Billboard R&B soul charts, which surely fueled the fire.
And when you was down, I was there to pick you up.
Those extended practices began to pay off for the youthful group, as they booked gigs around the country and opened for national bands such as The Temptations, One Way, and of course the OJs. One play in particular in Washington, D.C. drew the industry in, and that night was special because LeVert nailed it so hard that Atlantic Records VP Hank Caldwell went backstage to congratulate the lads on their amazing performance before offering them a record deal. They were delighted about the possibility, but weren't sure whether it was true. The very following week, Gerald, Mark, and Sean won recording contracts from Atlantic Records. Needless to say, they signed the agreement, and these young guys from Cleveland, Ohio, created history. Their second album, Bloodline, was released the following year, 1986, and featured the single Pop, Pop, Pop Goes My Mind, which rose to number 1 on the R&B chart.
Oh, has your love run out for me?
In 1987, the group released their album, The Big Throwdown, which became an even greater success due to the popularity of their R&B hit, Casanova, which reached number 1 on the Billboard R&B chart and number 5 on the Billboard Pop chart. It also rose to number 9 on the UK singles chart. Casanova was the group's only top 10 on both charts, and the hit was immediately borrowed by Hollywood producers. Casanova was included in Whoopi Goldberg's film, Fatal Beauty, and was part of the 1987 soundtrack for the film. The Pickup Artist, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald, the New Orleans Rebirth Brass Band, popularized Casanova as well. Gerald LeVert went on to record solo and with the vocal group LSG, which featured LeVert, Johnny Gill, and Keith Sweat. LeVert was also credited for discovering and promoting other prominent Cleveland R&B groups of the 1990s, such as the Rude Boys, Men at Large, and The Girls. On November 10, 2006, Gerald was found unalived in his bed at his home in Cleveland, Ohio, at age 40. Initial reports said that LeVert passed away of an apparent heart attack, but an autopsy done by the Cuyahoga County Coroner's Office determined that LeVert's death was caused by a lethal mix of prescription opioids and over-the-counter medications. His bloodstream included the narcotic pain medicines Vicodin, Percocet, and Darvocet, as well as the anxiety medication Xanax and 2 over-the-counter antihistamines. The autopsy also found that LeVert had pneumonia. The official passing was acute intoxication, which was declared accidental. Following the reveal of LeVert's passing, a family spokeswoman indicated that all of the medications discovered in his circulation were prescribed to him. And LeVert was taking the painkillers for chronic pain caused by a persistent shoulder condition and surgery in 2005 to repair a damaged Achilles tendon.
In the fall of 2006, Gerald and Eddie booked an engagement in South Africa that included a visit with Nelson Mandela. On the trip, Gerald became ill from an insect bite. By the time he got home, he was feverish and struggling for breath.
We noticed it was real cold outside and Gerald was sweating like real bad. The doctor didn't diagnose him with pneumonia or nothing like that. Gave him some medicine, sent him home.
A few nights later, on November 10th, Gerald LeVert died in his sleep. He was 40 years old.
The autopsy was saying a prescription medication mixed with over-the-counter. He thought he could self-medicate himself.
Well, of course, the effect was devastating. Needless to say, his dad took it very, very, very hard.
The first person I looked at to see why would this happen was myself. What did I do? What could I have done to not see this day?
Thousands gathered in Cleveland, Ohio to attend soul singer Gerald LeVert's memorial. Celebrities at the service included rapper-producer Jermaine Dupri, singer Angela Winbush, journalist Ed Gordon, and Usher.
Say that I'm real happy that I could be here today. Happy to say that I could be one of the people who was fortunate to know Gerald LeVert, have great exchanges in this industry as well as personally.
For me, I think that, you know, everybody should, the kids and everybody, because I think his music probably was like outside of younger kids, but I think that it's our duty to let people know how special this man was in the music.
LeVert's framed picture was displayed on the stage, and his father kissed the image to cap a thunderous version of his son's signature hit, Casanova. Stevie Wonder also performed. LeVert died November 10th at his suburban Cleveland home at 40. A preliminary autopsy showed he had heart disease. Jackie Bashir, The Associated Press.
Sean LeVert passed 16 months later on March 30th, 2008, at the age of 39. LeVert fell sick while detained at the Cuyahoga County Correctional Facility before being transferred to a state prison owing to unpaid child support. And Sean passed away 6 days after his incarceration. In May, the Cuyahoga County coroner found that his death was due to complications from sarcoidosis. The official coroner's report also included excessive blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes, and Xanax withdrawal. In 2010, Sean's widow received $4 million as a result of a lawsuit against Cuyahoga County.
The family of R&B singer Sean LeVert wants the FBI to look into his death. The 39-year-old LeVert, who formed the band LeVert with his older brother Gerald in the 1980s, died on March 30th. He was serving 22 months in an Ohio jail for failure to pay more than $89,000 in child support. The warden at the Cuyahoga County Jail says LeVert was restrained Sunday night after pounding on his cell door. According to the warden, LeVert's breathing then became shallow and he was taken to a hospital where he died less than an hour later. LeVert's cousin, Michael Gibson, says LeVert never had an outburst like the one described by the warden. An autopsy did not determine LeVert's cause of death, and toxicology tests will take weeks. An FBI spokesman says agents will meet with the LeVert family. Margie Zaraletta, The Associated Press.
County prosecutors cleared the jailers today in the death of R&B star Sean LeVert, and we are learning more about why. 19 Action News first to report the ruling on our website. Ed Gallick live now in the Newsplex with the very latest.
Yeah, prosecutors say they cleared jailers after looking at jailhouse video and interviews with guards. LeVert died in jail, and this video shows what happened just before that. A bit disturbing, but you decide how he was handled. You see jail guards putting LeVert in restraints. They say he'd been hallucinating and pounding on the floor. Within a half hour of this, he stopped breathing. The coroner ruled he died of complications from sarcoidosis, a lung disease. Prosecutors say they found no wrongdoing in the jail.
It appeared that he was put into the chair properly, that there was no force used, unnecessary force used. Also, in reviewing the coroner's report, there was no evidence that there was any trauma.
LeVert had been in jail for not paying child support. The family is suing the sheriff's department, saying LeVert had been on anxiety medication, but jailers never gave it to him. The attorney for the family says this ruling will not affect that lawsuit. He says LeVert's civil rights were violated. Now, coming up on 19 Action News at 11, we take you inside the investigation. We did some digging. What did jail guards and nurses say about what happened to LeVert and that anxiety medication?
Following the untimely passing of his friends and other group members, Mark Gordon founded Saving Our Musicians' Lives, SOEL, a nonprofit organization aimed to raise awareness of the hazards of prescription drug usage and misuse among musicians. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from LeVert?